Good morning, my name is Mustafa Mohamed Boucher, and in today's tutorial, we're actually going to look at how we can use JavaScript to create elements onto the DOM. So JavaScript is not just good for querying the DOM, fetching an API, or submitting form to the server, but we can actually use it to do a whole lot of stuff. So for instance, if we view the source code for this page, there's nothing in there except the script tag, right, which actually contains nothing. And if we go back in here, this is our HTML and this is our JavaScript. So first and foremost, we are going to start off by creating a simple paragraph tag, and we'll create a div tag, and then from there you'll get a logic on how you can create any element onto the DOM. So we start off by saying for instance, let p equals document.create element, and I'll pass the tag that I want to create, which is p for paragraph. And then if we want to add a text inside this paragraph, we can actually create a test node. So let's say let test equals document dot, and then use the create test node, not create element. Use the create test node to create a test. So say create test node. They'll pass the test that we want to insert. So let's say hello world, right? So this is the text that we want to insert inside the paragraph. So then we can just do the paragraph dot append child. Now bear it in mind, if you have any HTML element, right, anything you see inside that HTML element is actually a child. So whether it's a div which contains another div, that div which is being contained is a child. If it's a text, it's still a child. So there you go. So that is how we're appending to the child. We're appending a child to the paragraph. So pass the text in there. Document.body.append child. Then we'll append the paragraph tag. Save this, and then I go back and then reload. You actually get the paragraph in there with the text hello world. Now we can actually add classes to it. So right before we appended the paragraph tag to the body, we can actually do the paragraph, which is the p.class name, and these are my personal CSS styles, right? So for me, when I create a CSS, I make sure that it is readable to the next developer, right? So when you see this, it just tells you that this paragraph is having a class of font 30, which actually contains the font, which will make the font 30, and it belongs to the font family of vertical rounded. So if we save this, let's go back and then let's reload the page, and then there you go, you have this beautiful. Now let's create a different tag, which is going to be a div tag, and instead of us creating a test node, we'll actually use the dot inner test to insert a test inside the div. Okay, I'll come down and say let div, for instance, equals document.create element again. I'll pass a div there, and then this div we want to insert the test. This is a div tag, right? Now we use the div.inner test to write that. So saying this is a div, for instance, tag, and then we'll append the div to the body. So let's go back, reload, and there you go, this is a div tag. And realize that inside the body it's actually a div tag, sorry, with a class of that. This is not the only thing that you can actually append to the body. So for instance, if I want to append after this div, I want to actually append a button, I can actually go down here, right, and then create a button. So let button goes to document dot create element again, sorry, create element button, and then for the test we can actually do button.innerText, let's say click for instance, and then when we are done we'll just do document.body.append child, sorry, and then there you go. So if we save this and then we reload, we actually get two items in there. So we have the div and then the button, right? So this is the div and that's the button. Okay, we can actually also create line break, so that's the br tag. So let's say for instance after this div, okay, we want to create some line break. So let's say let br equals to document.create that, and then we can just append that document.body.append child br. So let's reload this page. So you see, we all know that code run from top to bottom. So this gets executed. We create a div, we give it this class, we give it this test, we append to the body, which is this first item we see over here. That's the first element. Then when we're done, we created this line break, which is this br over here, and then we appended to the body. So there you go, you have it down here. And then when we're done, we created a button, we gave it some class names, and then we gave it a test, and then we appended to the body. And then there you go, it's right down over here. So this is one way you can use JavaScript to create anything onto the DOM. Okay, you can use JavaScript to create anything onto the DOM. And if you don't want to be writing a whole lot of document.create element, document.create element, document.create element, what you can actually do is you can actually create one element, and then inside that element you write to it using the .inner HTML. Okay, we'll actually append to the body just the div. Okay, just the div, and then we'll write to the div. So instead of us writing this, we'll do .inner HTML, and then we'll use the backtick. Okay, there you go. And then we can write as many HTML elements that we want. So now if I save this, we just created one div, and inside that div we are writing to it other HTML element, right? So when we are done, we'll just append that div to the body. So if we save this and then we reload, sorry, we actually get that. Actually, let me for instance create a div around this, okay, around the form. Okay, so that we can actually center it. So let's give it a width of, for instance, 50, and then margin auto. If we save this, there you go. So there you go. This is the way you can actually create elements and then write it to the DOM or append it to the DOM using JavaScript. So like I'm saying, if we go back and then re-inspect our code, you don't see anything in here because everything was developed using what? Using JavaScript. But inside the body, you can see everything in there. This is one way you can use JavaScript to do other things. So I hope this tutorial is useful to you and that you use it in your JavaScript project. Thank you for having the patience to watch this tutorial to the end, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.